We're going to talk position battles as Tennessee in the first week of spring camp. If you would like to, go ahead and throw a position up there that you have a question about, and we'll go beyond 4 downs. And that's pretty typical because Dynasty Pools and Spas goes well and beyond for their customers. You can get the fantastic discounts, and they deliver it all, plus all the accessories. What down, Coop?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
I forgot that, Coop. Thank you.
Coop here. First down.
First position we want to take a look at for the Vols as spring position battles are ongoing would be left guard. I was told that's Andre Keurig's position to lose. If he loses it, there's a problem. There's a problem because you would think Jackson Lampley, who's getting some work at right guard right now, you would think that he would step in. But as I talked to somebody in the administration, Lampley was kind of so the jury's still out on him. That's an official response. So listen, Curry's got to step up.
Yes, he's got to step up. This shouldn't be a position battle. It shouldn't be on the list. It's on the list because I watched Keurig play last year, and he was horrible. He stole more money than Dante Thornton did. I don't even care if he just got $1. He stole the most money on the team last year. He was a total Dylan Sampson might be better blocking at left guard than Andre Keurig was last year. Okay, it was bad. And if he doesn't step up this year, that's a big problem. And if it doesn't, then there's going to have to be a position battle. And again, we talked about Jackson Lampley, a few other guys that come in. You know, one of the things that you notice, I know I've covered recruiting, not as much as you, but Dave, one of the things I've learned is you always hear of these, like, there's always like a load of like 3-star linemen that never really pan out. And I'm like, I guess coaches just sign those guys just to hope that they have a body in case the starter doesn't work out. Is that what they do with linemen a lot of times? Just fill a roster spot?
Yeah, nowadays you can just push them on out the door. So I thought people over-signing never made a whole lot of sense to me. Now, on the message board, we had someone ask, 4 downs brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas, as we talk some position battles, cornerback and linebacker. So let's go ahead and get to one of those now.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
I think linebacker, you brought that up this morning, so I want to pick your brain here for a second, because to me it's pretty simple. Keenan Pili would play the Mike, and Arian Carter plays your outside backer, because I think he can allow you to do a lot of things. He's a rush the passer, guys, we all know. Also, he's athletic, so if you got caught in a bind where he's, say, on the strong side and your nickel gets caught on the weak side, I think he could do some things in pass coverage as well. I think he's one of the top 3 natural athletes on Tennessee's team. And we learned after the season he wasn't as much of a factor when Keenan Pili went down because of a shoulder ailment. I don't even know that it was an injury because he still played, but he didn't play as much. I think Arian Carter is a superstar just waiting to happen.
I agree. We thought we might see it last year, but with Aaron Beasley still there, even after Keenan Pili got hurt, it doesn't seem like they could really run Arian Carter at Mike linebacker. I thought they would. So it clearly looked like they were grooming him to step in for Aaron Beasley at Sam. So this is his moment. It's not for a different reason. It's also a position, Sam linebacker, that we think is locked down the same way left guard is. But the reason left guard was on there is because Keurig was horrible last year. The reason Sam linebacker is on here is just because Arian Carter didn't start last year, but I haven't heard anything about him not being good or not performing or anything like that. He just didn't start last year because Aaron Beasley was there. So it's a different story altogether.
Talking football right now. If you're watching on Twitter, retweet. We greatly appreciate that. But if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. A lot of you guys haven't, and I'm not going to call you out, but I'm able to check who it is. Better be nice. Christmas is just a few months away.
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Well, what about the secondary? Feels like we've had this conversation going on 4 years. Good gracious. Do I know what they're going to do in the secondary? I can't tell you. I will say this. Ricky Gibson or Jordan Matthews, one or the other, has got to take a big step. We think it's Gibson now based off what we've heard. We did think it was Matthews. And John Slaughter has shown too much flashes to me that either he doesn't understand football or he doesn't work very hard at it. But those are my 3 guys that I would say in a perfect world, they need to step up. How do you see the secondary shaking out?
Well, for starters, every single starter from last year is gone. Either graduation or not. And I mean, literally, Jalen McCullough has graduated. Wesley Walker's gone. Gabe Judolata graduated. Kamal Hatton graduated. Warren Burrell's gone. Danico Slaughter's gone. Tamara McDonald's gone. Did I name everybody? I think I just named the entire secondary. Okay. Warren Burrell, I think I named him. Okay. So, yeah, it's just I normally
Willie Martinez is still there. Good news.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Willie Martinez, the secondary coach. I tried to narrow this down. I was like, oh, cornerback here, safety here. And I'm like, oh, just whatever, the whole darn secondary at this point, because the entire unit is up. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you can just see how everybody looks at every position in the spring and start putting guys in that way. We think Boo Carter's a generational talent. He should be. He should fill up a spot. They went for Jalen McMurray, Jermon McCoy, and Jacoby Thomas, 3 transfers. I expect them to be somewhere in the depth chart this year. And you're right. Then there's Jordan Matthews, Ricky Gibson the third. One of them's got to step up at cornerback. And then another safety's got to step up between Jordan Thomas and Christian Harrison.
I think it's Ricky Gibson Jr., third Esquire. I love the third. Don't you love the Are you a second
Ricky
or a
Gibson
third?
the third. He's the new RG3.
He is. RG3 just keeps
The
on
real one.
putting out bad content. What down? Good.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
Right. I'll ask you this question. The wide receivers, they're mighty fun to talk about the opposite of what we just talked about. I don't think there are as many question marks at wide receivers as there are exclamation marks at that position. What say you, Caleb Calhoun? 60 seconds. Dynasty Pulls and Spas. Having the best spas made right here in the United States of America in your backyard. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Their showroom is open in Athens, right off the interstate. You can stop by and check out the best hot tubs and spas in the market. And then delivery, yes, they can do that to Knoxville or Chattanooga. They've got complete support, spa cover, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. They also have pool chemicals as well. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton, and no one will ever notice. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastypoolsandspas.com or stop by that showroom in Athens. dynastypoolsandspas.com. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Tennessee's 3 receivers that take the field against UTC will be whom? Caleb Calhoun.
And by the way, I want to point out the reason this is a wide open race is because everybody's good. So it's the opposite of the secondary. It's going to be Brew McCoy. It's going to be Squirrel White at the slot. And I'm going to go Dante Thornton on the other side. I think the returners are going to be there. I saw enough flashes from Dante Thornton late last year before he got hurt to think that he could be really good if he's healthy.
Okay, first off the bench. So we've had to find out who's the first off the bench the past 2 years with injuries to Cedric Tillman and Brew McCoy last year. First off the bench is, I got a surprise one for you.
I'm going to go Mike Matthews. I think Mike Matthews is a rare talent, and I think in 2025 we're going to see him be a superstar.
There goes my surprise. Thanks, Caleb.
They're like, that is total bullshit.
I mean, you just took my bleeping surprise.
I'm sorry. It's obvious. This is the Nico Mike Matthews.
I'll work hard to try to get some information for our good community here that we have growing, and you just take it away.
I'm sorry.
Does that make
sorry.
you
I
feel
identify these.
Does that make you feel good about yourself?
It makes me feel great. I actually identify these things pretty well. I remember when Peyton went to. No, I do. I remember when Peyton went to Denver.
It makes me feel great, which that's what I was laughing at.
I actually remember when Peyton went to Denver, since you brought him up back in 2012, and the whole talk was about him with Eric Decker and them getting a wavelength. And I'm like, it's not going to be Eric Decker. It's going to be Demaryius Thomas, rest in peace. Demaryius Thomas was going to be his go-to receiver. And guess what happened? Demaryius Thomas became his go-to receiver. And I even said back then, I said Demaryius Thomas will go down as the best receiver Peyton Manning ever had. He's the best receiver Peyton Manning ever had. I identify receivers pretty well.
If you want to help Tennessee secondary, just go find where Willie Martinez helped hide the bodies, because I don't understand why he's not on the hot seat at all. I do not understand why they haven't considered going after another defensive backs coach. I know he can recruit, but goodness gracious, you not pointed out before, at a school like Tennessee, if you can't recruit, then you're a complete numbskull. You have to be nice.
theory.
You have to be nice to a 17-year-old. You woo a family that most oftentimes is not loaded. You woo them with plane rides and cash and everything. I mean, you give me an open checkbook, goodness gracious, I could recruit Satan to heaven.
I have a theory, and it may
Yes.
not be a good one, but you enlighten me on how coaches, particularly assistant coaches, do battle with whether or not a player should play receiver or secondary or tight end or defensive end or linebacker or running back. Those are fights that go all the time among coaches, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
I have a theory
I see where you're going
that
there.
Willie Martinez doesn't push back on Josh Heupel when Josh Heupel wants a guy to play on offense, and that's why he wants to play receiver, and that's why.
Or maybe he pushed back initially and he realized this isn't going to work. That guy wants all his best players on offense.
Yeah, that's my theory. And the only person he doesn't push back on is Rodney Garner, probably. But let's be fair here. There's not much conversion between defensive line and offensive line. Unless you're Butch Jones, you pretty much know up front whether or not they can play defensive tackle or interior offensive line, right?
Well, yeah, not to debate this point, but aren't guys more specialized nowadays coming out of high school? We don't see the guys move as often, like say up in defense so they can be faster, and that would be safety to linebacker, linebacker to end to tackle. We also don't see guys get flip-flopped from the offensive or defensive line as much. So I think you more recruit guys based off what they are than just their athletic ability, because I think to be a 3 or 4 or 5-star, you're a pretty elite athlete nowadays.
Yeah, but there are athletes that you are recruiting that could play multiple positions. And I think, but
Sure.
Those athletes are never on the defensive line.
Right. Those are usually skill position guys, right?
Yeah, they're skill positions. And so they still exist. And Josh Heupel wants to win all those battles when he gets the skill position guys. And so he wants all of his position coaches, and including his coordinator and Tim Binks on the defensive side, to stay out of the way and not push back when he decides to put them on offense. If he wants Boo Carter at receiver, he doesn't want Willie Martinez getting in his way to do that.